What does trance mean to you? Oh my god, that is a massive question. I mean, trance has dominated my life for the last 25 years. Making trance music has kind of been an obsession for me for all of my adult life. I love it because it's something that I love to do and it's kind of like a way of life, but I hate it as well because it's really narrowed the options of what I could do in my life, you know? I mean, it's kind of like being in a relationship with someone that you can't live without. You know, you really love them and there are things about them that you really, really hate, but there are also things about them that you really, really love. It's much more than a musical style to me. I mean, trance has kind of given me a lot of opportunities. It's held me back in a lot of ways, stopped me doing other things that I might have been good at. It's made having a reliable income to support my family very, very difficult sometimes. It's allowed me to travel the world and to see all these wonderful places that I might otherwise not have seen. But also, it's made me travel the world and not have a normal staying at home with the family kind of life, because being a trance artist meant I had to become a DJ and that took me away from my family. So there's good and bad things about it. The world is about to end and you're organising the last ever party. Which DJs would you book to play? Oh my god, that's a funny one. Which DJs would I book to play? I would book Sasha from 15 years ago. I think I'd book Carl Cox, because you know you'd have a really amazing party if Carl was playing. If it was just about the music, maybe I'd book Orchidia, but we're not talking about it, right? We're talking about the end of the world, so I'd probably book Jeremy Healy, actually, and Danny Rampling playing the music he used to play in the mid-90s. That would be good. I'd also book a really crap wedding DJ as well, just to play like the last dance at the end of the night, so everyone can cry and get drunk and then go and have sex with somebody that they probably regret having sex with the next day. But as the world is ending that day, then you wouldn't have to regret it, would you? So, what is your greatest fear? Wow, my greatest fear, that would have to be death. You know, I'm frightened. I'm so scared of I'm scared of dying because I don't know if there's anything afterwards. Like, I think there's something afterwards. Like, I believe that the soul exists outside the body, like the consciousness exists outside the body. Kind of in a morphic resonance kind of way. I don't know if anyone's heard of Rupert Sheldrake, but he has a theory about morphic resonance in that the consciousness kind of exists. Oh, it's too complicated to go into now, but dying is my biggest fear. And also, never seeing my son again. You know, that is my biggest fear. What is your earliest memory? My earliest memory would be when I was a really small child. I was in my cot and my brother came into the nursery and he locked the door, and then he took me out of my cot and he took the mattress out of the cot and he put me back in the cot on top of the bare springs, and then he climbed out the window. I think that's what happened. And so my parents heard me crying and they couldn't get into the bedroom, and when they got into there they just found me lying in a cot with no mattress. So thanks for that, Jeff, you bastard. Have you ever said I love you and not meant it? Yeah, definitely. I've definitely said I love you and not meant it to a few girlfriends in the past. I've been pretty bad when it comes to girlfriends. You know, when I was younger, I used to kind of get all of my all the important stuff for me was being in the studio making music, and so I used to have girlfriends just to kind of hang out with for the rest of the time, but I didn't really care that much about them. So when they'd say I love you, I would often say I love you because I didn't really know what it meant. So yeah, I have. So that's pretty bad. Sorry. What's your guiltiest pleasure? Oh, that's gonna have to be the Guilty album by Barbra Streisand, the one produced by the Bee Gees. I love that album, especially Woman in Love and Guilty. That is definitely my my guilty pleasure, although I don't feel guilty about it. So, what is your all-time favourite movie? Ooh, that's gonna have to be Probably The Shawshank Redemption. That's the one that I always end up watching again when I'm on a flight and I'm bored, and that film is always there. Or Titanic. I love Titanic. Oh God, I shouldn't really admit that, should I? But there's just something about that film. I think it's because I like the period in history. I think it was the 1910s, 1920s. No, it was the 1920s, I think, around about that period when it happened. And the 1920s is a period of time that I really, really love. I love the fashion, the men's fashion, the women's fashion. I love the music, the writers from that time, the art. So anything that's set in the 1920s. If you could change one thing about the world, what would you change? Inequality of wealth distribution is what I'd change. I think it's fucking terrible that there are such a tiny minority of people in this world who have so much, and there's such a vast number of people who have nothing, or very little. It's completely wrong. Capitalism, I think, is the problem. Capitalism is a failed social experiment, I think, and it should be replaced with something else. I'm not saying I'm a communist at all, but it's definitely balanced in favour of the wealthy, and I think that's completely fucked. So yeah, that's what I'd change. What is the most important lesson life has taught you? To treat others the way you'd like to be treated yourself, I think. Having a kid definitely changes the way you see the world. You see the inequalities in the world, and you also, as you get older, you discover that every action leads to something else. There's nothing is without consequences. That probably goes back to the other question about have you ever said I love you and not meant it. You definitely learn. I definitely have learned that every action I make has a consequence. So it's very important to consider other people and have empathy in your life. In a film about your life, who would play you? Who would play me? I'd like to say Rick Mayall. Rick Mayall and Adrian Edmondson kind of rolled into one. I think that would make the most sense. Rick Mayall, because he's my absolute hero in terms of comedy, and he's a wonderful straight actor as well. And he's probably the person who... Actually, I think it would have to be Oscar Wilde and Rick Mayall. Sounds a bit grand, but yeah, those two. You're only allowed one alcoholic drink for the rest of your life. What do you choose? Oh, it'd have to be wine, wouldn't it? Red wine, white wine, a good bottle of Chateau Neuf de Pape, or a nice Rioja. That's definitely what I would have. If you were an animal, what would you be? I would absolutely be a cat. I love cats. I've had so many cats in my life. My current pet, or should I say companion, is Kitty. She's an absolutely wonderful cat. She's very independent. I go away for a couple of weeks at a time, and she's an outdoor cat, and so I put down a big pile of dry food, and she just looks after herself, when I'm away, but she's so loving, and she's always coming to me to be brushed, and she lies right close to me in bed, and she's just a really wonderful, wonderful little friend, so... yeah, definitely be a cat. Which track from your back catalogue best defines you and your sound? I think a lot of people would probably say Seven Cities, I guess, but I guess Seven Cities defines the sound. Forever, Please, Thank You, all of those tracks, they've got that kind of, that Solarstone sound, that sort of warm, melodic, sort of Balearic feel about them. So yeah, I think a lot of people would say Seven Cities, and I would probably agree with them on that one. When did you last cry and why? Oh God, what a question. That was when my dad died. Last New Year before last. It wasn't actually the day of the funeral. It was. I played Open to Close at Ministry of Sound a few days after after my dad had died, and it was really, really hard gig. And I just burst into tears at the end of the night. So that was the last time. And my mum sent me a really lovely card through the post yesterday, and I had a bit of a lump in my throat reading that, but I didn't actually cry. If you weren't a DJ producer, what would you be? I always thought that I'd probably be quite good at running a pub restaurant, a really lovely pub restaurant, B&B in the countryside that did really good food, had really lovely guest rooms. I would have, during the week I'd have like different nights. So for example, I'd have like a Pink Floyd night on a Tuesday where the music would all be Pink Floyd albums, or like a Pet Shop Boys night on a Wednesday, and the food would be really fabulous and it wouldn't be too expensive, and the rooms would be really, really nice as well. And I'd probably have like a sex dungeon underneath, and I'd have fetish nights there as well. What is your favourite country to travel in? That is definitely Bali, or specifically the little islands around Bali. There's a little island called Nusa Lembongan where Paula and I go. Whenever we have gigs in Australia, we do the 2 weekends in Australia, and then we fly to Bali, and then we fly over to this island called Nusa Lembongan. There's no cars or anything there. It's so beautiful, and the people are lovely, and the food is incredible. It's really our place, you know, me and Paula. I think that's where we would like to spend our old age, definitely. Top 3 trance tracks of all time. Okay, Not Over Yet by Grace, absolutely, because that is the track that I came up on my first ecstasy pill to in a club in Wolverhampton. What else? Symmetry by Brainchild. That was an old record from, I think it was IQ Records back in the mid-90s. That's definitely one. And one more. This might be a bit strange, but the Blizzard remix of In and Out of Love by Armin van Buuren. No, not that. It's a really great one, but that's not in my top 3. I'm going to say the Abduction album by Eat Static. It's not a track, it's an album, but I can't sit here all day thinking about this because I've got shit to do. What is the one thing coming up in your schedule that you're most excited about? The thing I'm working on at the moment is always the thing I'm most excited about. I'm working on a new album project. Can't really tell you anything else about it because I don't like giving stuff away before things are finished. So that. And a final message for the dedicated trance fans on the Tranceportal. Thanks for your support, guys. Keep buying, playing, streaming the music, talking about it. Tell your friends about trance. That's what it's all about. No matter what age people are, there's always room for a bit of trance in their lives. Cheers, guys.